to talk about factoring trinomials or quadratics in this video. Now, you'll notice I've put the box back in here, like for what we used in the box method when we were multiplying binomials. So we're going to see if we can use this box method to help us factor. If you remember, factoring undoes the multiplication that you do with quadratics. So when you factor it, you're putting it back into the form where you have the two sets of binomials. Let me get my ink pen back here. So you're coming back to where you have the two sets of parentheses, that's your goal, where typically you have x plus or minus something and x plus or minus something over here. Okay, so that's your factoring. You're taking it from a trinomial where you have your a x squared plus b x plus c and putting it back in there. So since we use the box method for multiplication, we're going to try to use the box method for factoring. So let's say we have the quadratic x squared plus 5x plus 4. Okay, so we know that the x squared is going to go here when we did our multiplication, right? Now we know that the 5x has to go in these two boxes, but we're going to have to figure out how to split that up. And we know that our 4 goes here. So what we want to do now is kind of focus on how do we get the 5x. Okay. We know that when we multiplied whatever number was here times whatever number was here to get our 4. Okay, so let's think of factors of 4. What do you multiply together to get 4? You can multiply 1 and 4. You can also multiply 2 and 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 1 times 4 is 4. Okay, so now what we have to look at, if you remember when we did the box method, we ended up with our x squared, and then we had plus something, plus 4. So something here, we have to add together these two terms in order to get that 5x. So look back at these factors. What can you add together to get 5? Well, I'm hoping that you're sitting there either thinking or saying out loud the 1 and the 4, because 1 plus 4 gives us 5. So I'm going to come back over here to my box. I know that 1x plus 4x is going to give me that 5x. Okay? Now, we can now write, okay, what we know about our binomials. We know that x times x gives us x squared. So we know we're going to have an x here, and we know we're going to have an x here. We know that everything is positive, so I'm going to go ahead and put a plus here and a plus here. See, I have a positive 5x in my problem, and I have a plus 4 over here in my problem. Okay, so now we've determined that we've added 4x and 1x together to get that middle term of 5x. So what do I multiply x by to get 4x? Hopefully you're saying 4. What do I multiply this top x by to get 1x? I multiply it by 1. So now I have my factored form using the box method. So the factored form for that trinomial or quadratic is x plus 4 times x plus 1. Okay, so let's do another one. So the next trinomial we want, or quadratic that we want to try to factor, is going to be x squared minus 3x. Oh, and we'll do minus took me a second. I didn't want to make up a quadratic that was going to be totally weird. So anyway, so we've got x squared minus 3x minus 28. Okay, so let's fill in the boxes that we can. We know that we're going to have x squared here, and we know that we're going to have negative 28 here. Okay, so Remember to find our middle term, this minus 3x. What we're going to have to do is figure out what times what gives us 28. So let's list the factors of negative 28, or just 28. So we know we're going to have 1 and 28, 2 and 14, 3, nope, 4 and 7. Are there any more? I don't think so. All right, so here are our factors. Now remember, when we add those middle two boxes together, we want it to add up to negative 3. So is there any way for us to add 1 and 28 together to get negative 3? Hopefully you said no. Is there any way to add 2 and 14 together and get negative 3? Hoping you said no again. Okay, so let's look at 4 and 7. If I make the 4 positive and the 7 negative, I can add that together and get negative 3. So that's where I'm going to go. We're going to have a 4 and a negative 7. Okay, negative 7 plus 4 gives us the negative 3. And now, of course, we need to add in the x's. Okay, so now we just write it out. What times what gives you x squared? X and x. Okay, x over here on the left times what gives you 4x? Well, that would be 4. And since this is 4x is positive, we're going to put our plus sign up here. Now we do the bottom left-hand corner. So x times what gives you negative 7x? Well, that would be a negative 7. So our factored form for this quadratic is going to be x plus 4 times x minus 7.